Do you want to grow your money, but you don't know how to do it in a halal way? By the end of this video, you learn the fuss-free finance halal investing formula that has helped lots of my clients start to grow their money in a halal way and fuss-free. Here are a few examples of people I've helped. They've grown their money, made some good profits, all while avoiding what's haram and by using our halal investing formula. Here are the 5 steps you need to follow to be able to start investing in a halal way. Number 1, you've got to set your goal. One of the first things to do before you start investing is to set your goal. I mean, why do we set goals? Goal setting is all about intention, and Islam is a religion that's all about intention. Is your intention to invest or to gamble? For example, a goal can be, I want to retire in 10 years with $1 million. So that's an example of a goal. You have a deadline, in this case 10 years, and you have a measurable goal, in this case $1 million. Now that you have a goal in mind, it'll help you track your progress as you start investing. The second thing you want to have before you start investing is a plan. So we've got a goal. And the next most important thing is, how are we gonna reach that goal? And so your plan will help you, plan your steps to get to your goal. Having a plan will keep you on track, and it will help you measure your progress along the way to your goal. So how are we gonna reach our goal? Let's say in my earlier example, I have a deadline of 10 years and I wanna get $1 million in that 10 years. One way we could do that is if I save $100,000 a year for 10 years. And then I'll have $1 million, assuming zero growth. In other words, my money is not growing at all. But I mean, if I could put aside $100,000 a year, why would I need to invest? So this is where you plan out your strategy. So what exactly goes into your plan? These are the 3 things that go into your plan. You need time, a goal, and a rate of return, or ROR. So we've got the first 2 things set up. 10 years, $1 million. We need to figure out what's our rate of return. So what exactly is rate of return, or ROR? In its simplest form, it's just how much that particular asset grows per year. If I do stocks and shares, for example, I could potentially get 10 to 20% per annum or even more, assuming I do it right. And if I were to use mutual funds, I could probably get 5 to 10% per annum, again, assuming I do it right. So now here, get a financial calculator. Now there's plenty of financial calculators online, and if you happen to have one on hand, fantastic. I personally like to use an app on my phone called Financial Calculator. So here's what you do with your financial calculator. You put in your time, which is 10 years. You put in your goal, which is $1 million. Then you choose an ROR. How much rate of return can we put in? So for example, let's put in 10%. So I need $1 million in 10 years, growing at 10% per year. Now, if you key it into your financial calculator and then you click solve for payments, that will show you about $4,800 per month for the next 10 years at 10% growth per annum to achieve $1 million. At this point, you'll have an idea of how your financial calculator works. And now that you know that, you can start tweaking the different variables. I totally understand. Not all of us want to retire in 10 years, nor can most of us put aside almost $5,000 a month just to get it to grow. So let's say I tweak some of the variables. Let's start with time. Now, I'm in my 30s and I intend to retire in my late 50s to early 60s, which means I have a good 20 years of growth. So now in my financial calculator, I'll leave that goal as 1 million, but instead I'll tweak my time at 20 years. Now, when you click solve for payments, you'll start to realize that your monthly amount to invest isn't $4,000 over dollars, it has dropped significantly to $1,300-ish per month. Now that you've done this exercise, now it gives you an idea of the kinds of variables that will influence how you invest over the next 10, 20 years. You can play with time, you can play with your goal, and you can even play with the rate of return. This will help you formulate your plan on how you can start investing. Because with your plan, you'll know exactly which assets to buy. Have fun with the calculator and let me know in the comments below, what's your number one goal when it comes to investing? My personal goal is to be able to retire early. So step 1 is to have a goal, and step 2 is have a plan to achieve that goal. Let's get into how we can actually start investing. Step number 3 is to open a brokerage account. What exactly is a brokerage account? It's a fancy way of saying a place where you can buy your assets, where you can buy your investments. Now, these brokerage accounts, there are way too many for me to list today. So I'm going to share with you those that I am familiar with and that I am aware of at the time of this recording. One of the most important things you can't miss before you start investing is, of course, to have that brokerage account. Huge disclaimer, I'm not affiliated with any of these names I'm about to mention. A good platform or broker will usually charge you low to no fees and lets you access both stocks and mutual funds or unit trusts, depending on where you're from. Some platforms let you only do one, some actually let you access both. And so go do your homework and let me know in the comments below which are your favorite platforms. For example, some of the platforms I'm aware of are those that are provided by some of the local banks here in Singapore. Banks like DBS, OCBC, Maybank, UOB, and so on and so on. Most of these banks will have an online platform that lets you buy mostly stocks and sometimes unit trusts or mutual funds. There are also organizations which are not banks that provide access to both ETFs and mutual funds. I'm aware of 2 at the moment, one being Fund Supermart and another being Philips Securities. So just be aware of the fees that they charge and the features that they have, because each broker and platform may have slightly different fees and features. Do your homework and make sure you know what you're getting into. By opening an account with a platform that suits your needs, you will be able to invest in the long run, hassle-free and hopefully fuss-free. So you've got your goal, you've got your plan, you've got your brokerage account. What to buy? That's step number 4. A question I get asked a lot when it comes to investing is, which instrument do I use? There are lots out there and these are the ones that I'm currently aware of. Now bear in mind, they each have their own pros and cons and you'll have to do your own due diligence and do your homework before buying any of them. This is where I'll give you a big disclaimer. Do your own homework, do your own due diligence, and if necessary, speak to a qualified professional before you even buy any of these stocks and instruments, okay? At this point, I'm aware of these ETFs that are available to us. One is HLAL, or Halal, by Wahid Invest. What it does is that it invests in mostly stocks. SPUS is another one which also does stocks and is available on the US exchange. SPSK is a similar one, only that it deals in sukuks instead. And SPRE is one that deals in REITs or real estate investment trusts. If you want more information about these particular ETFs, I've prepared a 2-page guide with more details about them written inside. So let me know in the comments if you want a copy and I'll be more than happy to send one to you. For the mutual fund space instead, I'm aware of these particular ones. The first one is the Templeton Global Sharia Equity Fund. I think I spoke about it in one of my other videos. It's a mutual fund that buys stocks and shares that are Sharia compliant. Another one that I'm aware of is the Franklin Global Sukuk Fund. Now, it's a fund that, like its name implies, buys mostly sukuks, which are Islamic bonds. Another fund that I know that has sukuks inside is the Maybank Global Sukuk Income Fund. Like its name implies, it buys mostly sukuks, but it is more towards giving out an income. And the last one that I'm aware of is the DWS Noor Precious Metals Securities Fund. Now, this particular fund buys stocks and shares that, as the name implies, does mining in precious metals like gold and silver. If you want a more detailed summary of these instruments, like I said, I've done a 2-page guide for you. Just let me know in the comments below and I'll be more than happy to send it to you. Now, most of these instruments should be available to you if you're based in Southeast Asia. And if you can't find access to them, let me know and I'll do my best to point you in the right direction. A lot of the time, we tend to pick investments based on a friend's opinion or whatever we read in the news. But if we pick instruments with full intent, and remember, Islam is all about intent, the right instrument will help us stick to our strategy and help us achieve long-term success. Step 5, and this is the most important. You gotta make it halal. To start investing in a halal way, I recommend using the Fuss Refinance Halal Investing Formula. H is habitual investing. What this means is that you want your investments to be regular and as a habit, because habits are really hard to break and you want consistency when you start investing. A is allocate correctly. Depending on where you are in your life stage, the different allocation or mix of stocks and bonds will differ. Someone in my age group versus someone who are in their 50s might have an entirely different allocation. L is look and learn. Look for opportunities out there and start educating yourself, learning more about how investing works. Because only through constant education can we actually have more success. A is annual reviews. Look at your portfolio at least once a year and decide whether that particular mix of assets fits your current life stage. And L is long-term. Time is the most important determinant of long-term return. So you want to be invested for as long as you can. So now you have the Fuss Refinance Halal Investing Formula. It'll help you grow your money safely and most importantly, achieve your goals in a halal way. I've got another video that goes deeper into the halal investing formula and you can learn a lot more about it right here. I've written a 2-page guide with a list of halal investments that you can add to your portfolio. Now, if you want a copy, just let me know in the comments below and we'll send you one. All you have to do is just say yes. And if you want even more, I have a group of like-minded investors in a community that shares tips and ideas and even gives support to each other when it comes to halal investing. Let me know if you want in. Or better yet, look for me on Facebook or on Google. Check out these other videos to up your game on halal investing. If you like this video, hit subscribe, hit like and share. I do this just for you. This is Afiq, Chief Finance Ninja at Fuss Refinance. I'll see you at the next one.